Hey guys, I'm Edward Jacob. We're here today with Corey Crocco. He's the owner of the venue, The Willow, as well as Flair of Country, the catering company, right? So I'll let Corey start, start.
I always have to say co-owner, because
yeah.
my better half there. So unfortunately she's at home sick today with flu A's been crushing us lately. So we have a little girl. She brought it home about 2 weeks ago, and unfortunately she's down with it, and so is my now 6-year-old son. So it's his birthday today. It's like I think he had one healthy birthday so far in life. So
that's rough.
Yeah.
That is rough. Cool, man. Let's talk about how you got into the wedding industry.
Yeah. So let's see, man. It's funny. It all started with a food truck. It's my dad owned a restaurant. My mom's side of the family owned a meat market. Kind of out of school, I went to school for hospitality management. That's a whole nother story how I got into hospitality management. I'm sure you know the brief story. It's my dad's bar burnt down.
Yeah.
I was an understudied business major at the time, and burnt down. I really thought I wanted to stay and re-help and build the bar. Really kind of drove me towards the hospitality industry, and it's something I truly did love. Spent some time kind of bouncing around. Thought I was going into the special forces at one point. Worked in the oil and gas industry, paid off a lot of the debt, and saw a need for a food truck, but really a food truck with a twist. So we developed this mobile catering company, Flair of Country, which is kind of how we got here today. But we wanted to bring the fresh food cooking on site. At the time, we saw in the wedding industry, we saw a lot of people were doing the rustic wedding. Let's put a tent up in the middle of nowhere, which is awesome. It's my type of wedding. It's something I live for. But we always saw, especially around here, we have the Johnstown Classics. Like, I always hate to say the Johnstown Classics, but I grew up on it. I love it. The chickie, the riggy, the piggy.
Yeah.
I mean, how much of a staple was that? Like the fire hall Johnstown wedding. So we really saw a need for the Johnstown area. Something different. We developed this whole food truck concept, really a mobile kitchen on wheels, where we could bring the whole kitchen to you and cook on site.
Yeah.
That's really how we started Flair Country. My wife and I was still doing a lot of the natural gas industry at the time. We bought the trailer thinking I was still going back out and working for a little bit. But I never went back, man. Like, it took off. She quit her job, I think, within the first 3 months, and we were starting to hire our full-time employees like 3 months after that. Following year, bought a second trailer, and Flair Country was off and running and turned into this awesome little catering beast that, ideally brought us to the room we're sitting in today.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
What about, like, I know that you don't make like the piggy riggy, right?
Yeah.
But like, let's talk about like what made Flair of Country. I know you said I know this all, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the people that are watching aren't gonna know that. So like, you make everything on site fresh, but like, let's talk about the pulled pork, right? I'll just say it. Let's talk about the pulled pork, right? Because that's the reason, like, I think we became friends, because of your pulled pork.
The pulled pork, dude. We go through so much pork. It's insane how much pork we go through. It's funny. We started off as like, barbecue is what you think of when you think of like a backyard.
Yeah.
And it doesn't has to be necessarily like on the sandwich with barbecue sauce dripping off. Like, our menu is so complex, and even back then it was. But for us to take this other element of like the pickup business and all that, like pulled pork and mac and cheese is where it's at.
The mac and cheese is on site too, man.
It's literally insane how much pork we went through. Like, I hate saying the numbers just because when you really break it down, you're like, oh my gosh, like that's all the pork butts. So, So like the pulled pork, the barbecue side of our catering business was really the start. It was the start of on top of catering. For weddings on the weekends, we do, to be a full-time business, we had to develop different concepts we could kind of do all the time, so like developing our pans of pork and delivering it. And today we made 5 different deliveries to hospitals around here, and 4 of them probably had pulled pork on it. But it's we developed this kind of base menu. We call it, I think we have a wedding menu out there, we call it our grassroots menu.
Okay,
it's pulled pork, grilled chicken, 3 sides. Which is our grassroots menu, and then from there you have so much of our food.
I have.
we developed these trailers that like be grills on sites with convection ovens and stuff like that. So a lot of our menus are tailored a little bit to how we can cook.
Yeah.
That's the big thing, is like really like using your equipment to maximize what you can do. You know, we train all our chefs, no matter what size wedding it is. We still want to still be cooking even as the buffet is going on. So we're turning fresh pans. They're very, little time in the warmer as possible. So we're grilling vegetables on site. We're roasting vegetables on site. We don't use anything canned. It's all fresh. Grilling chicken, reheating the pork at that point. I hate to say reheating the pork. We're not pulling the pork fresh at that point. But, there's very little that's not fresh on site. But a lot of grill-infused flavors, even that we're carrying into the Willow. We have our grilled pork tenderloins, our charred grilled beef tenderloins.
Oh, dude, your tenderloin's like out of sight, man. Like, it's so hard to choose between like your tenderloin and your pulled pork. I literally can't. You can't go wrong with either. I do feel like I get a little spoiled doing so many weddings with you with the tenderloin. I feel like I do less pulled pork weddings, but so I think I crave the pulled pork a little bit more, but the tenderloin's out of sight, man. It's like my favorite thing you make.
It's funny, we just did that our little wedding show last month, and what was there? I think we had a strip loin, a charred strip loin there, so we had a beef, but right next to it we had a pulled pork side. It's like we always have to have, no matter what type of Flair Country event, we're putting pulled pork in there somewhere.
Yeah, but I try to convince all my brides, if they're up here at the Willow, I'm like, you gotta try the pulled pork. I know it's not like,
I think that's a fair though. It's not traditional.
It's not very like fancy, and I think that's why people like stick away from it because and we'll go into the Willow here in a little bit, but like, I feel like the Willow's like brand new. It's fancy, like people like it's a nice wedding venue. Yeah. People think like higher end like food and things like that, but like. Man, I can get down with some pulled pork at a nice venue.
Exactly. It's funny. So, like, when we first started the Willow, we first started booking the Willow 2 years ago, back before we even had a show on the ground.
Yeah.
It was at the Johnstown Bravo show. And when we came out with the 3 menus, because Flair Country is the manager of the Willow, when we came out with 3 menus at the time, we came out with a formal buffet, we came out with a plated dinner, and then a adult plated dinner. Okay. And the first 5 people who came in, I think 3 out of 5 were like, can we get your barbecue?
Yeah.
So literally, I think that next month we added another buffet option that was tailored around barbecue. So whether it's, a nice pork tenderloin, I call it fancy pulled pork because you have to pick it up, or the actual pulled pork sandwich, but demand literally added the barbecue menu back to the Willow.
Nice.
That's still served on china. It still has a plain salad.
Yeah.
Oh, you can get that. Not everybody has to put pulled pork on a bun too. Nah. Everybody pound it. It's great, like mac and cheese and pulled pork on top of that.
I rarely put it on the bun.
Yeah, just pound it.
I don't know why. It's like I'm like thinking about my diet when I'm eating pork with barbecue and mac and cheese.
You've been to Nashville, Nashville. I mean, I remember when I went to Nashville the one time I flew through there, and I fell in love with the plate, and they did like a cornbread pancake.
Okay.
So that's what they put at the bottom of your platter.
Okay.
And it was a pulled pork platter. It was a pulled pork sandwich. Just pork on a basket, all those juices kind of soaked into that cornbread pancake, and that's kind of how you had it. That's why anytime you had pulled pork, you don't have to put it on a sandwich.
So how long have you been doing catering?
Man, I started catering back when I was in school a little bit, kind of going back and forth. And
like college?
Yeah. Okay. So literally 2010. Even kind of right after college, I was out at Haven, a local bar or something down there. And I was catering on the side. There was always the Johnstown Music Festival. And some mutual friends, I don't know why they asked me to cook, but it was like I came in and I literally had a pickup truck and a grill in back. And I was like cooking for like Greg Allman. And take in mind, I grew up a cook. I don't claim to be a chef by no means, but I know my way around the kitchen. But they came to me and was like, hey, we have to cook for these performers. They have a specific meal, can you do it? I was like, sure. And sure enough, that kind of turned over each year, even before Flair Country. And that really, Music Fest, Johnstown Music Fest was one of the reasons why Flair Country became Flair Country.
Yeah.
It kind of was the start of my catering career. I really like catering. And, since then, I swear I would never own a restaurant or a bar, and I'm co-owners of a bar or restaurant again. But, the reason why I always like catering is it's because I knew exactly what I was getting into.
Yeah.
Like, before you go to a job, it's kind of like you shooting, exactly your cost going in, how long it's going to take you. that's what I liked about catering compared to like forecasting in the restaurant industry.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, you know exactly what you're getting into and stuff like that, and really kind of creating a different product. You know, kind of not putting food in a warming box style was a new style that we really wanted to create out here.
You talked about like catering for like musicians. I mean, you've catered for like the presidents. You've catered for
pretty much anybody who came through Johnstown. We have
like you've
Greg
catered.
Allman, like that. You know, that was a big one back before he passed away.
Yeah.
Some of the Beach Boys, like a lot of country artists that came through Johnstown.
I mean, you've done it all.
Right after what? Mindy and I got married in 2015, same year we started the business, and the next day, that was Saturday. The next day we were setting up for Hockeyville.
Yeah.
So we were having to cater for. That's when the
I forgot
Pens came
Johnstown
in.
won. They played down there.
That was the first year, but that was like our wedding year was a mess. It was between us moving and starting the business, and Hockeyville was in. It was funny.
Was it the same year that you got married? The same year you started Flair Country?
Yeah, Flair Country was March of 2015. We got married in September of 2015.
Wow, that's a lot.
And then we moved in October. We moved to Pomona, which I think you helped me carry a treadmill upstairs.
I carried that. I think like that entertainment center in the living room.
Yeah.
That was a disaster.
That was a month after I got married. So, but it's crazy. I mean, that was 10 years ago this year.
I know, how crazy is that?
Yeah,
right?
so literally 10 years. We're actually we've been talking about doing a big Flair Country anniversary over the summer.
You guys can go anywhere for your 10 years?
We want to go to Nashville.
Nashville?
Yeah,
that's rad, man.
Yeah.
I think we went. I think Iceland was our 10 year.
We really want to do Nashville, but we always throw different things in the wrench. Like we went and got a puppy on Thursday night or Friday.
Got another puppy. What'd you get?
For sure.
Oh, nice, man.
Yeah,
that's rad.
I found everything since we lost Dorian, our 9-year-old. We've been kind of missing that.
Yeah.
I think slowly over time we're like, we definitely want another short hair. And then I was on AKC looking around, and there was a breeder in Latrobe. Didn't have any females, and he got back to me. He's like, "Hey, the one person passed on the female." So sure enough, I got the flu, and let's go buy a puppy. So
did you want a female?
Yeah, we missed Dorian so bad. We didn't want. I don't know. Not trying to replace her. She was special.
Yeah, I hear you.
We missed her. I mean, this little girl, she's awesome. She's gonna fit right in.
Yeah. So, do you think you're gonna like work with her to point at all, or do you think you'll just kind of keep her in the house?
You know, like I always told you, dude. Like I always wanted to get back into hunting. That November hunting season.
Yeah,
it's it's so rough. We're just in the start. We're finishing out the end of the wedding year.
Yeah.
So most of my Saturdays are gone.
Yeah.
It gets dark at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
You know, so you really can't go after work. And that it's pretty much from middle of October to the start of buck.
Yeah. I mean, we just have to you try to take Mondays off, but you probably try to take Mondays with your family too.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to,
I do.
We try to get out during the week.
Mondays would be awesome.
When all the normal people are working.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, hopefully over time I have more time, but I would love to put her over birds.
I feel
she comes from a good hunting line.
I feel like entrepreneurs always take those weird days off. Monday or Wednesday.
Yeah, exactly.
When everyone else is working, those are our off days.
Yeah, my Monday's definitely everybody else's Sunday.
Yeah. I feel like you have to our friend group. I feel like there's a lot of entrepreneurs in there just because of that reason. Yeah. Because we can't take normal weekends.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Especially the wedding.
It's so nice that we have friends that understand that too, that are on the same schedule. Else we probably wouldn't talk to anybody.
I know, right? So how long until when did you start thinking about opening a venue? You started, so early. So you have this wedding, you have this wedding business. Was it before you started Flair Country? Or is it after you started working at venues? Is it, let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you were one of the original ones that helped me at Flair Country.
Yes, I know that, but hopefully people are going to watch this that obviously don't know us.
Yeah.
They can kind of learn a little bit about you.
So my biggest issue, we own this catering company, and Flair Country grew really fast.
Yeah.
We were catering 35 weddings a year within our second year. It was kind of exactly what we wanted to do, and it was really that prime. We were very seasonal with being an outdoor wedding venue. But we always hated going to another venue and us showing up with a staff of 8 people and the other venue being completely absent.
Yeah.
You know, knowing what these venues are charging these people, and you know, I just got so sick and tired of like people coming to us because they ran out of toilet paper in the bathroom.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
I saw.
I definitely remember.
Oh man, it's not only that. Like obviously, owning and building a wedding venue or buying, investing was a whole another level of saving and getting involved. So there was a lot of work to getting there, but we kind of knew right away like that was the ultimate goal. I think Mindy and I look back. I mean, the Willow property itself. So we started Flair Country in 2015. We walked this property in 2018 for the first time.
Wow.
So that's when we started like dreaming of owning a wedding venue, and we did. We looked around like all within 30 miles of Johnstown. You know, we looked at different farms, and we always had a criteria. You know, and nothing really checked off our criteria. We wanted a rustic setting. You know, but we wanted to be close to the highway, so you didn't feel like you were in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
We wanted to be in X amount of miles of a hotel.
Yeah.
But you know, so we wanted all the amenities of not having a rustic setting.
Yeah.
But you know, still have a rustic setting.
Yeah.
And that was very hard to find. And then sooner or later, we just decided to build.
Yeah.
Like it was, let's just build our own venue, which was crazy.
So you guys looked at some barns and stuff?
Yeah. There was actually the one that was closest would be right out in Conemaugh Township, like on Sao Paulo Road.
Okay. Yeah.
Pete's Tavern, you would make it right there. There was a barn out there. A guy had a wood shop and an awesome pond up top and stuff like that. But it was a 2-lane road, and you know, and then you're getting into. I mean, granted, I have my own fights with, you know, different ordinances and stuff like that. But you're in a different side. You know, you're not commercial. Like it could be a podcast on its own, dude.
Yeah. So what? Yeah. What like? So if you have just a barn, I'm assuming has to be some sort of like rules about turning that into commercial, right? Do you know anything about that? Like,
I mean, so there is a building code, like an international building code that everybody should be following for commercial property. Yeah. You know, and the big thing is having a sprinkler. So like being over 99 people, if you have an occupancy permit over 99 people, you know, you're supposed to have it sprinklered. A lot of the older venues can get around that with, you know,
like grandfather or something.
Grandfather codes, or because they're still an open air bar, or you know, they have enough egress to get out, or it really depends what township you're in. You know, those smaller townships are just happy to see something, so they'll work with you on that. Where, you know, larger townships, this is their way. You're in a commercial building zone. This is what you're doing. Very happy we have it. You know, that's one thing that was a very large expense to put a sprinkler system in an 18,000 square foot venue. But you know, it's So but going back to looking for locations. So this location here, you looked at it previously. Yeah.
Like, what was that, like 4 or 5 years before you ended up buying it? Is that?
Yeah.
Is my math wrong there?
I mean, 18. I think it was February 2018, and then we had a salesman.
Longer than that.
We had a salesman agreement in place right after COVID.
Okay.
So COVID was really 2020. So I think 2021 finally purchased the property in 22. I think. Okay. Because we went through that whole process of like, hey, we found the property, we dreamed about it.
So like 4 years.
Yeah. We started getting everything on board with the bank, and then COVID put a giant halt to it.
Yeah, I said everything.
Everything. Dude. I mean, you want to talk? They completely flipped their plan upside down. Yeah, I think, you know, I came to the gym for how many years saying we're buying the property, and I was like, hey, I think we're finally buying the property. Yeah. So,
no, that's rad, man. Then what's it look like after you buy the property? You know, let's talk about the timeline.
Yeah, so we first looked at, take in mind when we started Flair of Country, we eventually moved Flair of Country into the airport. Yeah. The Johnstown Airport. And we were driving past this piece of property, and nobody knew it because there were trees here. You couldn't see the view. Nobody knew it, and then one day I was like, wait, let's stop. And we walked through the woods, and I was like, well, there's the view, you know. We're in a commercial area, so we really kind of said we couldn't find anywhere, and trust me, it would have been a lot cheaper to find something else.
I'm sure.
It would have been a lot cheaper to go that route, but For us and the vision and the market we want to go after, we really felt full-heartedly in building something that we building something to bring people here.
Yeah.
Building exactly what we wanted, we felt was the way to go. Combing through business plans and stuff like that. That's ultimately how we get there. So, but how did we get to this ultimate place of this venue? So we found the property, started talking to the property owner, had to, subdivide land. We went and started asking the township what we had to do for zoning ordinances, really did our homework in that, put a purchase agreement in place to lock that in. And then as we were getting ready to purchase the property, COVID hit. So take in mind during COVID, I don't think you were shooting yet, right?
No, I was shooting. Yeah. I started just before COVID.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's when they were like, you remember some of the early COVID rules were like, well, no mass gatherings, no weddings at all.
Yeah.
And it was nothing more than 25 people for a while. So we went to the bank on a handshake saying they were very interested in funding the project. Basically, go ahead and move forward with stuff to, hey, we're not going to fund your project at all anymore. Who knows if you're ever going to have a wedding again.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, we'll go ahead and survive and we'll revisit this in the future.
Yeah.
So it was like a massive hold. But as I was doing that, I was trying to work with Richland Township on some of the different building codes and where my wife and I came into this budget. It was our money only. It was everything Flair Country had made. It was everything we have saved personally. So building a venue this size, it was a giant expense. And then as we were combing through some of these building codes and stuff like that, where we just saw additional expenses being added to for really in my mind, there is reason to it. A lot of the building code in this township was written in the 70s, It was written when this town was very pro-commercial business, back when John Murtha was around and we had a lot of defense money coming in. You had a lot of these defense companies building buildings left and right. You could throw anything at them and they were still going to build a building.
Yeah.
For me coming in, unfortunately, with my wife and I's budget, we didn't have something like that. And the bigger you build the building, the more parking you need and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
something I don't think a lot of people think about. I know you and I talk about it, but the numbers you've told me, and we don't need to talk about the numbers obviously, but what it costs just to put in the parking lot. When you're starting a business, a lot of people, I think, bypass certain things. Yeah. And I feel like that would be one of them. Just the parking lot alone.
And again, if we would have went and found a barn, that township probably would have been okay with us having a gravel.
Just gravel.
Yeah. Here, Richland Township doesn't want gravel at all. Which in their own reason is right. I think there has to be different.
To be honest, it looks really nice. Yeah. So it does button up the property to where 100%. It looks like
exactly
that higher end.
100%. And that was always kind of my fight with them is I was never looking to get around it.
Yeah.
I was just looking for help on getting there. Hey, give me 3 years to get my homework.
Yeah.
And we were looking at different DEPs. So the PA DEP code was saying, hey, secondary parking lot, meaning a parking lot that you only park on once or twice a week. Yeah. So you can determine that 75% of my parking lot is only used once or twice a week.
Yeah.
DEP actually prefers it to be gravel. They want an impervious material to let the water come back into the ground.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, and not that I was arguing for that, it's, but just different things that needed to be challenged on, and and that's, I obviously have a complete paved parking lot. We were able to go with, we were able to send some of our other parking off-site, and eventually here within the year, we're going to have a bigger parking lot is our next goal.
Oh, that's right.
Add another 36 spaces. Yeah,
nice.
You have to pave some more.
Okay.
So, pave some more. Yeah, so ultimately up here, I think we'll have 140 paved parking spaces.
Oh, cool. Nice.
So, which is plowing and
plowing. That's another thing. I don't think a lot of things.
Dude, this winter is harsh so far.
Yeah,
it's currently snowing outside right now.
I know. I thought we were done. I was like,
we have another 2 weeks.
That groundhog knows what he's talking about.
We have another 2 weeks. Every time we have an event, which we have the comedy show this weekend.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So so you also hold events up here. You hold what?
So that's it. So we built this building,
Yeah.
primarily our ultimate goal is to go after weddings.
Yeah.
We built this to be a wedding venue, but we also...
As we sit in the bridal suite.
As we said, yeah. Built a full service kitchen in the venue.
Yeah.
So Flair of Country is completely moved in house here. So we do all our day-to-day catering. We operate full time out of here. And then what we're really trying to do now that we're here, last year was such a transition year with us moving Flair of Country into here, and we're reimagining what Flair of Country is truly going to be. It's always going to be a catering business.
Yeah.
Exactly how much we take off site, where we take it, all kind of stuff. Flair of Country main goal now is to operate this venue. So December we were trying to figure out how to fill February, January, February, March in this industry is very slow.
Yeah, the slow season.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
That's why I'm doing a podcast right now.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm okay with a slowdown, but there's certain points like, I think next year we said, hey, let's try getting 4 weddings in the first quarter.
Yeah.
So January, February, March, let's get 4 weddings, which we're doing, offering some great discounts and stuff like that, but also trying to fill these with different corporate events. So we said, hey, let's do a Valentine's Day is Friday.
Yeah.
Let's do a Valentine's Day show. I got with a friend of mine. We got 5 comedians coming in, 3 from Chicago, 2 from New York City. We were hoping to get 100 people. That was our ultimate goal. And I think, and we felt like we released it late too. We got it out mid-January. We felt we released it late, but we sold out in 3 days, like 240 people.
Yeah.
So we're doing like a meal. We're doing a little kind of cocktail hour from 5 to 6, a sit-down meal, so either a filet, salmon dish, or a pasta dish, and then the show will be from 7 to 9.
Yeah.
So should be fun. It's something different. Definitely filling our weekend.
Yeah, it sold out quick because I know I saw it pop up and I wanted to ask my wife if we were free because she's the boss, obviously. You know that.
Yep.
And I think we went on to look and it was sold out, and I was like, well, that's good. Good for Corey. Good for Corey. I don't know what we're gonna do on Valentine's Day, but good for Corey. That's cool.
I told you could be up in the loft.
Yeah. But no, that's rad, man. That's super cool. Like being in a small town, bringing in like these people from these big cities, and like really offering something to the community that like no one else is offering.
So that's another big thing about the Willow. We spend so many of our weekends doing weddings.
Yeah.
And for us, we're starting to pull. Our ultimate goal is to pull from other markets.
Yeah.
So we're really going after the Pittsburgh market. That Western PA market. We want to be known for a regional venue. We built a venue this big. We have the infrastructure with the hotels and the restaurants around it. Yeah. We kind of want to make Johnstown a wedding destination town. As crazy as that sounds,
I mean, it doesn't though, because like if you think about it, like people are getting married at Seven Springs in the summer.
In the summer.
I mean, these ski resort towns do the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's essentially like it's very similar business model,
And when we first looked at the Willow, like when we did some of our market research, it was Pittsburgh was going a lot up into Butler County, Grove City, so they're going an hour north. They were going Seven Springs, Champion, Fayette County, an hour south. We're 75 miles east of Pittsburgh, so we looked at it. Why not? And our venue rental fees are half of what we're seeing coming out of Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
it's just it was a market that I'm like, why not?
It's probably less than half. Because they got to get a Pittsburgh caterer, they got to get a Pittsburgh this,
driving
Pittsburgh
the
that.
food from Pittsburgh, and then they're paying this venue, which a lot of the venues that we've been seeing comparing to, we didn't cut anywhere in this venue. We have AC, we put heat in the floors. Like we really made sure to try doing it right the first time.
I mean, the view, man, like you can't see it now, but
obviously
because it's a white house. But like in the summer, you have that gorgeous valley. Like you see the rolling hills. Like, and I mean, Pittsburgh's a vibe too. Like if you're into that, that skyline's sick. But
this is good. But
but like for real though, how are you gonna beat like the rolling hills of Pennsylvania? You know what I mean? Like
that's it. And how many people are going outside the city to get married? It's
100%.
And that's where, and we were like, let's bring them to Johnstown.
Yeah, why not? I love it.
But part of that, and back to what we were talking about, like we spend so much time doing weddings on the weekends where we don't want to lose being a community event. We don't want to lose our local community feel. So doing events like this comedy show where pretty much advertise directly to our local community, and then we're doing our 4 patio nights this summer. We're free event, and we're paying the bill. We're bringing some great party mans in on the patio. We have a 4,000 square foot patio. We'll put a bounce house up for the kids where We have it May, June, July, and August right now, but a free event. Let's just come hang out.
Yeah, so, those are fun, man. I love them. We always come up. And
we did that first one last year.
Yeah,
so
we love them.
We're excited this year. It's something we want to stay. We want to stay local and still have that community feel, and people know who we are and stuff like that. Where you just don't have to be invited from an out of town wedding to come to the Willow. Yeah, so it's really what we want to do.
Yeah, I think it's also nice because I feel like a lot of locals kind of move away for work, but then they can come back like where their family's at and get married here. Yeah. So like it's like a mix.
Yeah.
I mean, we get a lot of local brides that get married up here, so it's not just out of town couples out as well. So.
That Greensburg market's become really big for us.
I just don't feel there's a lot of venues that kind of in between. It's kind of like a dead zone almost.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of those right now.
So let's talk about this venue. How big is it? What rooms do you have? What's your favorite thing you built? What would you redo? Would you change anything?
Yeah, so roughly it's like 18,000 square feet.
Yeah, that's, if you don't know how big that is, that's real big.
Yeah. So our main ballroom, our main dining room, that's 70 by 100, so that's 700.
How high are the ceilings down there?
26 feet in the middle and 21 feet.
We play basketball down there.
Yeah,
and I don't even play basketball.
We had a bounce house.
You legit had a bounce house.
Connors,
weeks ago.
Connors, he wants. Ever since Riley had her bounce house, her 3rd birthday in here, Connor said he wants to have his 6th birthday.
I'm surprised he's not riding a dirt bike inside.
I know. He has 37 other acres to do that on. So I think that will be this spring for sure. But yeah, so we have an 18,000 square foot venue. 4,000 of that is the covered patio.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to say 4,000. I'm not even including the upper square footage. A 7,000 square foot ballroom, 70 by 100. We have that other side room that we do like a buffet room and an add-on room, kind of a multi-purpose room.
Yeah.
That's 25 by 70, I want to say. We have the kitchen there.
Do people use that side room for so I've never come up for a rehearsal dinner.
Yeah.
Do they ever use that for rehearsal dinners or anything?
Yeah. So that's either the rehearsal dinner, either there or the patio.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Being
the sun was really hot. A lot of people came inside and then just kind of hung out on the patio.
Yeah.
But that was always the ultimate goal, is to offer this venue as a full weekend package.
Yeah.
And be able to if not be in the ballroom at a certain time, let's just be in the side room. And we were always big on having that as a buffet room too. So when we're done with the buffet, people don't see us break down the buffet and behind the scenes work. But we're sitting upstairs right now.
This is honestly for photography. A lot of people have nice ballrooms. I feel like it's always the small things that make the difference, and I feel like this. Not that this is a small room, and then there's the stuff out there as well that I'm sure you're going to talk about, but getting ready pictures aren't usually the most flattering because of the space.
Yeah.
And this space makes getting ready photos just next level.
I have to give my wife and
I know you didn't do it, Corey.
They spend every little detail up here. They definitely have an eye for different things, but
the green couch, man. How many awesome photos?
I know,
that green couch.
Yeah, and she still looks at me because I asked her this year if we were getting a different kind of couch, and she told me no.
No, so, don't do that.
I don't know these things.
It's gorgeous, man. I love it. It's so nice, and it contrasts so well with a wedding dress. It's beautiful for photos.
Yeah, so just having that little nook is really cool up here, but. These are different parts of the venue that we want to keep growing. Eventually we want to have the groom suite where the grooms can get ready around back. And, again, just part of this overall goal, what we want this venue to be. So.
Yeah. What else is there anything else that, or is it secrets or anything that anything coming out besides we talked about the bride or the groom suite, right? Anything else that you're thinking about?
No, I mean, I'm always open about my dreams. I do. We have a lot of property. We put a lot of infrastructure in this property. I do want to see another building come up on this property.
Yeah.
Whether it's a smaller event space with that building or not.
Oh yeah.
I have these different brewery kind of tap room house ideas that I might want to bring to the front of it. Another little event facility in back. Ultimately, we would love to have a little pavilion or something covered to do ceremonies underneath a different location. So really now it's going to be like, we really want to focus on the fine detail of the venue. Now that the venue is here.
Yeah.
So really kind of, adding those little extra, little pieces.
Yeah.
Kind of as we go forward.
Yeah, I know from working here, one thing also that makes you really stand out that I'd like you to touch on a little bit is just like, and we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but like your staff is the best.
Yeah.
Like it's honestly like you're always busy, you're always running around, so I deal with your staff on wedding days probably more than I deal with you. But like they are phenomenal, every single one. And just like, let's talk about that. Like, how many people do you typically have work a wedding? Is there like a ratio that you have? Like,
I do. Yeah.
How are you so successful at finding good people to work for you?
I'm very fortunate. Like previous past employees, like we have always had great employees. That work for us. Sorry. We've always had great employees that worked for us.
Yeah.
And really have kind of allowed, our vision to keep growing. We have Morgan right now.
Yeah, she's great. I'd love to do one of these with her as well.
Yeah, I'm sure she'd be more than happy to.
Yeah.
She's our full-time wedding planner. So she kind of runs everything with the wedding with the Willow. So you get her for the day. She's kind of the point of contact, throughout that whole wedding day. So I'm sure you talk to her a lot. And then on top of that, we have the Fly of Country catering team. And that really, like, we have a ratio depending what type of services is and how much is required to how many, servers we bring in or dining room attendants per se we bring in. But between
is that just based off how many like guests there are? Or
So that there's always a minimum, but my golden rule is like maybe for a buffet you have one server per 30 people.
Okay.
I plate a meal, we might push that to 1 per 20 people.
Yeah.
Again, there's a lot more criteria in there, but really the size of the wedding is going to determine how many people we bring in. You typically had me running around with a chicken with his head cut off, whether I'm helping parking people or lawn chairs or fixing things.
The arches, because sometimes we get crazy things up here.
Just I kind of wear here now that I'm a venue owner. I wear multiple hats.
I feel like that's most business.
And then I'll jump back in the kitchen and help get dinner out. Because that's where I started, was in the kitchen. But I definitely wear multiple hats here. Whether I'm typically overseeing all the behind the scenes things.
So here's a question for you that I've never asked. When you jump in the kitchen and start working, do you take over or do you let the chef take over, or do you work side by side?
So so I work side by side with him. It's typically when I move back there, it does kind of turn into my show. But they're completely capable of doing it when I'm not there too. But most of the time we're kind of counting on a certain number of people being in there to execute the food. There's the whole prep of the food and getting the food ready up until that half hour before, until we're really finishing the food and sending the food out. It's still, when I am in the kitchen, it does still kind of turn into my kitchen. I have James, who is my head chef, and he's completely capable of running the show completely. Kind of that's the ultimate goal. I really want to see, as we keep growing in these next years, is to start seeing some of my team now that we're here and we're developing routines. And it was a transition year this year. We all learned a lot.
I bet.
I hope now that we have different events under our wings, we can, we all know what to do now, and it should be great.
Is there anything that you, like, any mistakes that you've made that you would talk about, or anything like that you would change in building the property?
So more storage.
We always cube and
we're building our garage here as soon as the weather breaks. So that's it, and we're gonna add another little bit off to the kitchen eventually too. So we started sketching that out, and then I should be good, like with for this business.
Dirt bikes, you're gonna have 6 dirt bikes in that storage.
Exactly.
As soon as you build it.
That's why we have to. That's the garage. That's why we have to build the other one storage next to the kitchen. So when we originally designed the building, and take in mind, we actually took off 5 feet on each side and 5 feet on the back just to help fit budget a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
And ultimately that came down to storage. You know,
Yeah.
a little bit off the kitchen side, a little bit off the back of the building. But also, we were still, when we designed the building, we were still at the airport, thinking that we were always going to keep part of Flare Country down there. And again, our lease was up, and the airport wanted to head in a different direction too, more than what we wanted to offer them. So we ended up moving down here full time, and that's where it was like, man, this place is a little tight in those aspects. So we have a plan to go ahead and finish that, and then maybe sooner or later we'll be done spending money there.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like once you finish, then you're like, you know, it'd be nice to have, you know, whatever. It'd be nice to plant, you know, redo the landscape. Or
well, that's like all the fine detail stuff, you know.
Yeah, but that stuff can add up, man.
Well,
it can
100%.
be pricey.
Yep.
You know, that's like that stuff that most people don't think about. I feel like, but like that's the stuff that adds up. That you're like, man, do I really need?
We spent
5 more trees.
We spent a lot of money in landscape. There was so much unaccounted money, like just in opening the venue and keeping the vision that, like you said, landscaping. Like, there was so much like unaccounted money that you don't anticipate. You kind of overlook in the beginning. But in order to make it a wedding venue and for it to look its best every single day, it's an investment that has to be made.
Yeah, 100%. What about like, I know in the past we've talked about like a ceremony location. Are you still, is that still in the works?
Yeah, I would love, I showed you that wood cutout in the spot down in the woods we have. So that's kind of would definitely be one of those things that we really want to work on. Yeah. And then that's, do we cover it or keep it uncovered? Partially covered? Covered?
Yeah. Do you do like when you say covered, do you mean like a gazebo kind of thing?
Yeah.
Or like full all gas covered?
I was thinking full all gas covered.
Okay.
I have this really cool design of this really nice looking pavilion that I look really, and I hate to call it a pavilion, that doesn't sound
nice. It's hard to, it's almost like a building that's open. Would you have any type of sides or like retractable sides or like any type of
that's actually what we're working on for the patio for this coming winter.
Okay.
I really want to make it a 4 seasons patio.
Oh, neat, man.
So really where we can
How do you do that? What do you...
I've been working with like a canvas like tent company almost.
Okay.
So where they'll create basically a erector set of canvas tenting.
Okay.
That basically we put up a little frame and pull this canvas tight over top of it. And that would be up from like mid-November until end of February, March.
Yeah, and you have all those like, I don't know what they run on, propane.
Exactly. Make it more through. The most frigid day, you might not be able to be out there, but
those heat up. If that was closed in, that would heat that up nice.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of our corporate parties push 350 people, which our dining room fits great. And typically during the summer, you have the outside to expand on, but when you do have a rough winter, you don't have that outside to expand on. I don't want to say it can get a little tight. We're missing that extra area.
Yeah. What's the biggest wedding you guys held up here?
I think we're right around 300 people.
300? Yeah, is that like the most that you would want? Would you do? What's the biggest wedding you could do?
350.
350. So not much bigger, but
we advertise this place as 350.
Okay.
Nice. We could cram more people.
I don't feel like you would feel cramped at 350.
No, we did a couple of nice corporate parties at 350 with the dance floor, so we know it works. It's the only thing that gets a little challenging is like the photo booths and how many other accessory tables do you want in the main dining room. But that's why we have the side room too.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know how big. I feel like one of the weddings I did up here was close to 300.
Probably.
I feel like the back is still open though. There's so much room in the back. Like you don't have to have everything up front. I feel like I don't know. Maybe there's a way to.
Yeah, we've been trying to work on different. Whether it's dance floor more in the center, kind of overlooking, outlooking the patio, or up front. We're definitely open to making different arrangements and stuff like that.
Yeah. Something you didn't even cover on too is like. I feel like you guys hit on everything. Like you guys have speakers in the ceiling. Like
and that's the thing that I keep working on.
The lighting can be all changed. Like you can plug into your speakers so that it sounds good.
Yeah.
There's like jacks in the walls to plug in your microphones.
We tried.
Like XLR jacks and stuff.
Yeah, so that's even still like I'm even adding more speakers here real soon. Ultimately because it's a big building. It's like a church.
Yeah.
We have these big high ceilings and So there's definitely a lot of echo in there. So some DJ equipment doesn't sound super clear if they don't bring the right equipment in. So we're trying to develop a system where your DJ can come in and he still plays all his music and stuff out of his speakers.
Yeah.
Only we're giving him the house mics that has crystal clear sound for the announcements, the speeches, all that stuff. So every guest in the dining room can have the best experience.
Yeah.
But also the corporate side really likes that too.
Yeah, that's interesting on my end, because I'll plug into the DJ stuff but if all the mics are coming from your stuff, I'd want to plug into your stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I could record all that.
Yeah.
When we do like speeches.
It shouldn't be an issue. We would just have to test that one day.
Yeah.
Whether you're
I don't think it'd be an issue. It's just like I'm so used to like asking the DJ to plug into their stuff. It's very rare. Sometimes at churches and stuff, if they're using their mics, you can plug into their stuff. But that's neat. We haven't done that yet, but I'd be interested to try that. That'd be cool.
So with the comedy show, I know I have a guy coming up and running some sound, but we're gonna somehow tee off and use our sound. So like, one of his cables, kind of what a DJ I think would ultimately do too.
So that's interesting. So the show you guys are doing, that's this weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They're gonna run through your speakers.
So both. They're gonna have mobile speakers in back of them. Okay. And then they'll have and be playing through ours at the same time. Yeah.
Have you tried that yet?
Yeah.
Does it sound
great? Yeah, exactly. So it just pushes some more sound, and that's what we're doing with adding the speakers to the walls. So we have our overhead speaker system, and then we're going to add the speakers to the walls to kind of more direct sound.
Yeah.
It's kind of, instead of making the place quieter, we just want to make the place clearer.
Yeah, for sure.
It's because we don't want to take away from the ambience of what the place is, so let's make it clearer, so more direct sound.
Yeah, I saw you guys had you gotta go. Okay. I saw you guys have a stage down there. Is that your stage or?
We share that stage. So one of the guys I work with, so Jaha, they allow me to borrow it. One of the guys who's working the comedy show with me, he was the one that helped find that stage. I think it was one of IUP's old stages.
Oh, cool. So it's like full circle, man.
Right.
That's where your degree's from, right?
Yeah. So something I want to own one day is some staging myself, just something else to offer on the corporate side.
Hopefully you get more storage first, because I feel like you're running out. Which is crazy to say in such a big building, but
when you have like 400 chairs to store,
but not even just that, I feel like
200 chair managers,
your dining room is so big.
Yeah.
You know that, like, how much of this? I mean, I don't know how much you have in storage, but I mean, you have a decent amount, but still comparatively,
when you have an event for 150 people, you have to put 250 chairs away.
Yeah.
Kind of outside out of mind, and those 250 chairs sitting back in storage just taking up.
So saying that, do you think for your venue a smaller wedding is harder?
No, we have enough space to store it.
Because we've done big weddings and small weddings up here. I don't think that it looks too big I think some of our weddings were only like 100 people.
Yeah.
And it looks fine.
Yep, exactly. And that's the one thing we were really playing around with this past year, is making sure, all weddings feel comfortable. And that's just how we use the space. We'll bring out a whole bunch of cocktail tables and help fill, part of that space.
I didn't even think about that. So, you did have cocktail tables out, and it fills the room. It makes it not feel too big.
Exactly. It allows the guests to move more too, where they don't have to be, the smaller wedding, they benefit from that, because I guess necessarily they're not always taking a break at their seat. They can take a break at the cocktail table.
Realistically, like, everyone knows this in the wedding industry. Like, once you eat dinner, most of the people don't stay in their seat. Yeah. They're going to see,
100%.
Aunt Joe that they haven't seen in 6 years.
100%.
Everyone's at their own table. They the table arrangements are great for dinner, and then everyone it's a free for all.
Yeah, exactly.
And like there's like a whole gang of guys over at the bar. There's groups of people everywhere, but they're never at where there's very few people that stay.
I know.
In their seat that they're assigned, right?
Yeah, the guys are stuck on the patio the whole time.
Yeah, or the patio. Playing cornhole outside with those cornhole boards.
Exactly.
Sometimes they'll have like a cigar bar outside, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's a nice patio. I like that area a lot.
Yeah,
I know.
Awesome. You have
a
even
lot of DJs.
We didn't even talk about it. Yeah, like that would be something cool to talk to a DJ that's been here too, because I'm sure it's a whole other dynamic because you're playing inside and out. You can't.
Yeah, we started recommending that a lot because in the middle of the summer, even though we have AC in here, it's completely cool in here.
Yeah.
People just like to be outside.
Yeah.
So we're actually recommending with some of the DJs to bring additional speakers for them outside. We since have added speakers to the patio too.
Yeah, but what's like one more speaker? Just slap it on.
Exactly.
And there's that door there.
Yeah.
You can just run a XLR right out there.
Exactly.
I don't think that'd be too crazy.
Yeah, just to keep music going out there. But that was one of the complaints we got over the summer a few times when everybody was outside. From the DJ side was, the party was outside the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, well, that was their choice.
It's nice, but it's nice out, man. It's Pennsylvania. We only get like three months of good weather.
Exactly. So, but there are different things that I might be open to letting the DJ be outside or something like that.
Yeah.
So have a party under the patio.
I've been to venues. I can't think what the venue was called. It was towards Pittsburgh, but it was similar, right? Okay. But they just had speakers that were outside and inside.
Yeah.
Like they did their first dance outside. They did, So it was just the DJ has to be more versatile than that, I think. But they might not know that if they've never been here either.
Yeah.
So, anything you've learned, like I swear I was talking to a DJ because you had that wedding show this year, and they said that they were setting up, I think, more not in the corner.
Yeah, more towards the fireplace.
Is that going to be like something that you move to more, or
no?
Was that just like a one-off, or?
So we did 39 weddings last year, maybe 6 of them. More of a center mount.
Yeah.
Dance floor, so they were kind of set up in the center.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're good, man. Yeah.
So it's, again, we like making the vision of our clients. Maybe a certain DJ set up there a few times. But again, we have enough outlets everywhere where DJs can set up literally anywhere. Yeah. I really want to see with our overhead screen, I really want to see DJ come in. We were working with the one DJ out of Pittsburgh. He's the one that does I think he's the Steelers DJ. So if you go to a Steelers game, he's the one, doing the tunes in between. But I want to see some video DJing, like where they're playing whatever music is playing. The music video is playing up on the screen too.
Oh, that'd be neat. Yeah.
So like as a dance floor, can you imagine this venue completely dark? Yeah. And then he would do a split screen out of his DJ booth and up top, where you would have I think it would look really cool with the videos playing, overseeing the dance floor.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool, man. That's like maybe something that's. I'm always thinking about things that are coming in the wedding industry, so you can kind of predict them or see them coming, so you can adapt. Yeah. Because if you're not adapting, you're not going to be around. Do you see anything else adapting in the wedding industry in general that
I want to say, so we really try to, as far as how we made our Corsa venue looks a little bit more on the rustic side, but it's the rustic and modern at the same sense.
Yeah,
I mean, we really went how a lot of people are building houses now. Yeah. They're building this house with a farmhouse touch, and that's something we wanted to make sure people can come in here and not feel like they're in a barn. And I'm hoping that trend stays around, obviously, for a good while. I invested into it.
But I feel like also if I understand that styles will change, but you can also change a lot of the vibe just by the furniture and things like that. You can make it feel more modern if it would shift that way. Yep. But I'm trying to talk about more things that are innovative. So for example, the DJ playing videos during it. Do you see anything else changing or anything?
I don't know, man. That's it. I think that's
vendors or anything with flowers, anything.
That would be a great question for Morgan.
Yeah, you probably are right. I'm just curious if you saw anything or noticed anything or anything new that I haven't seen, because we're always working. We work some of the same weddings, but not all the same weddings. So
it's. I think there's a lot of preference out there on what vendors come in. Yeah. There are what people decorate with and not decorate with. But as far as what's on the horizon, I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
I think I would like to hear hear Morgan's answer to that.
Yeah, I know a big one that's what's happening in some bigger cities now are like content creators.
Okay.
So you have like a photographer, a videographer, and a content creator.
Okay.
So they're just doing like cell phone videos actually. So like your family isn't having to take cell phone pictures and videos.
Interesting.
And then they just like, I haven't worked with one, so I'm kind of just, this is a hearsay essentially, but then they're just, I don't know if they're airdropping them or they're just delivering like unedited cell phone pictures and videos on top of the other.
Interesting.
As well.
Yeah.
So that's like a bigger thing that's starting to come. Last year was really the first I've heard of it. I haven't worked with one like I said yet, but I'm excited to work with one. I think it'd be nice. They do a lot of like behind the scenes stuff for other vendors, which is nice. So yeah, I think it's a great add-on. But
one thing I saw, like a lot of the QR codes, like you know, having their own unique QR code. For people to upload content to those QR codes.
Yeah.
I saw that was something that really started catching traction this year.
Yeah.
So
Cool, man.
It's Western PA. We still have Western PA cookie table.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, I don't think that's ever going away, man. I hope not. I don't. If it goes away, I'm probably done with weddings.
Yeah, right.
To be honest.
I think we all are at that point. So.
Yeah, man. Anything else?
No. I mean, I appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, I really appreciate your time, man.
I look forward to another big year of weddings. And
heck yeah, man. We love being up here.
Keep booking for 26. So,
all right, buddy.
Yeah, cool, man. Well, thanks.
Dude.
Yeah,
I appreciate you.